So the significance of this particular event, let's talk about that. We have Ambassador Anil Kumar Truganath with us, a well-known former senior diplomat, figures very frequently on our discussions. Good evening to you, Ambassador Truganath. What do you make of the moment, not just for Al-Shara, but for the people of Syria and the entire region? In fact, the return of Syria to a global stage. I mean, there's no other bigger global stage than the United Nations, although someone in the White House thinks that it's the White House.
You are so right. But I think that the Syrian president's return to the UNGA after nearly 68 years, I think 67 was the last 58 years. So that is something is very, very important in the sense that it provides President al-Shara a legitimacy that he has been trying to seek. As you know that his past comes to haunt him very often in various debates as he belonged to the Al-Qaeda group or others. His HTS was also proscribed organization. But now, ever since he has come to the forefront and he has been legitimized by Turkey, by the United States, by the Western countries, as well as the Arab countries, he is trying hard to somehow bring about reconciliation in the country. So today, his speech was very clear what he's looking for. He's basically looking for peace and development and trying to have those lot of fractured groups are there in the country, as you know. Secondly, he also has a problem with Israel, which has been bombing Syria ever since there was deposition of Gaddafi, of Assad when he fled to Moscow. So since then, there have been regular attacks and there have been captured territories, and it's in that context that he reiterated the 1974 agreement that the former President Assad had signed with Israel and which was held out until he was deposed. So I believe that that is important. Secondly, he has also called for a large number of countries to come and help in the reconstruction of Syria. And once again assuring them that there will be a fair justice as the investigations will continue. Is there some kind of a truth and reconciliation commission also? Because if you see the statistics that have come out from the investigations made so far, more than 1 million people died because of atrocities by the previous government. Now, of course, it's not that easy to arrive at it, but most of the Syrians, and I can tell you from my personal meetings and experiences, want to return to their country, want to rebuild their country. It's a civilizational country. And apparently he's looking for a chance. And of course, he has many challenges within the country itself. There are several groups that need to be taken on board. There has to be elections, and there has to be a legitimate, duly elected government that needs to come into power. The women have to get greater representation, because it's a very modern country generally. It is not as the people in his previous, so to say, control area are, which are very radical. He also has a very big problem how to bring about the reconciliation among 30-odd nationalities of fighters who are in his country, and they are very, very conservative. So he has huge challenges, but those challenges can be surmounted if there is a greater international assistance and a lot of countries legitimizing his presence. That is important, because so far overall control of al-Shara is not there over whole of Syria. Now that's what he's trying to gradually, incrementally achieve. So he's trying to convey this message, and it's a very important platform for him. Essentially, the biggest, especially that Syria has been absent from the UNGA, because you know why? After 1967 war, Israel had taken the Golan Heights, and it is in that protest that the Syrian presidents refused to go to the United Nations.
Okay. Now, in case of both Al-Shara and Syria, how much, to what extent does their fate really lie in the hand of both Netanyahu and Donald Trump?
Well, Netanyahu, he's what he has said, and he has again invoked this 1974 agreement. And I doubt very much that the Israelis are keen on following that, because they would rather keep those Golan Heights from where they can have a complete observation over what is happening, and they provide them the heights, they provide them a lot of water resources, the areas that they have already taken. and therefore they'll have to go back. And I doubt very much that they are going to cede the Golan Heights. Besides, President Trump himself had recognized the Golan Heights to be the part of Israel. I mean, that is another problem. So, on the one hand, the Trump administration is very keen to mainstream al-Shara. But on the other hand, they are also continuing to appease the Israeli leadership with regard to their own concerns. And naturally, the fact that Israel is still not reconciled to the fact that al-Shara was a designated terrorist himself. So that's the big problem. But at the moment, it appears that President Trump is very keen that al-Shara settles down and that country eventually signs up to the Abraham Accords. That is another bigger thing. They want both Lebanon and Syria to be the first one because Saudi Arabia has now refused until Palestinian issue is resolved. So this could be one of the deals that can be cut eventually.
And what kind of stake does India have in all this in terms of course, India would like to see Syria to become stable and peaceful, but beyond that?
Well, I think that India has always stood by the Syrian people. And it was not for any regime. We had very good relations. We have been providing all the assistance. Despite all the sanctions against Syria, India continued to provide assistance and through United Nations and directly to the Syrian people. Even after Mr. al-Shara's return coming to the power, India has been providing assistance, humanitarian assistance, a lot of it to the Syrians. Even last couple of weeks it has been done and more is about to follow. So I think that our interest remains there, both in its economic engagement, development, and I'm quite sure in the reconstruction of Syria, Indian companies, if they position themselves correctly, will be able to do better. But I think we always maintained an ambassador, and currently also we have our ambassador as well as embassy operating in the country. We did not come out. There were not many Indians who had to be evacuated except 14, 15, which was not a big number. So plus we have our own economic interests also in the region. So we hope that it gets mainstream fast and hopefully the Indian diplomacy will be winning the hearts of the Syrians once again.
And can Syria's issues be addressed, sorted out without addressing what's happening in Gaza and the larger Palestinian issue?
Well, I think that can be separately handled. And it looks to me that since Syria has much bigger problems for themselves, and they obviously are no longer, as protege of Iran in the current dispensation, or Hezbollah had no further control in Syria now, they are more interested essentially to continue to maintain their country develops faster, stabilizes faster. That's the priority. But at the same time, a general question always is there that the Palestinian issue must be addressed and the two-state solution must be found out. But that is not predicating in their having a normal relationship with Israel, provided Israel takes the lead.
All right. Well, let's leave it there at the moment and see how things go. Let's hope that things move in a positive direction from what's been happening in New York. Thanks a lot for joining us for the evening, Ambassador Trigunath.
Thank you. Thank you.